Hello, and welcome to OSINT, Fun with Open Source Intelligence, brought to you by Pentester Academy. My name is Jamal Bandakwala, and I will be your host for this fun, exciting course. In today's video, we will be looking at a couple of cases. More specifically, we will be talking about General Petraeus and presidential nominee Clinton. So, start off with a little bit of background. As I'm sure you are aware, both these individuals have been in the news recently due to two different scandals. So, General Petraeus was a highly decorated soldier, 4-star general, and former head of the CIA. And he was in the news for a scandal because he had an affair with his biographer and apparently shared sensitive information with her. So his biographer got jealous and ended up threatening a well-connected socialite with some allegedly threatening emails. This socialite happened to also run in similar circles and also had contacts with the military and intelligence establishment. In any case, the FBI wound up getting involved and a major scandal ensued. So, as the scandal broke apart, the FBI, while investigating, became aware that it seemed like the same individual who was making these threats was also, or appeared to also be, communicating with the general. And there generally seemed to be something going on here. So they were concerned. They weren't sure whether someone was impersonating general or what was going on, and they began to look further. So, first of all, how were the general and his aide communicating? The general and his aide were not sending emails to each other. They were in fact using a Gmail account and would go in at different times, type a message, save it in the drafts, and get out there. So they were using a shared Gmail account, and they would communicate by saving messages in the drafts folder. Once one person had finished, they'd delete it or make changes and go on, so on and so forth. So you might be thinking, okay, that's interesting, but where's the OSINT part, and how do they get caught? Well, remember early on when we talked about how different intelligence organizations use OSINT as part of their collection activities, and how they look at file downloads and they examine IP addresses and such? Yeah, that's played a big role here. In this case, the FBI and the other investigators were examining the email headers and trying to identify and tie down a geographic location. And they wound up getting a subpoena. And then they also began to look at the IP addresses. And in this case, the general's aide was sending threatening emails and from the same IP address as she was communicating with the general. And here are some useful bits of reading on this. So, a couple of notes. In this case, the general's aide, the general, could have done things a little bit differently. So, on the one hand, using the Gmail account to communicate that way in a discreet fashion was actually a really good idea. And take note, if you're planning to have an affair or do something like this, don't use the same IP address. They could have done a number of things. They could have gone to a coffee shop or somewhere else, or a number of things to not be tied to the same location or the same IP address. That's what led to the downfall here, and that made a big difference. Now, the Clinton scandal is a bit different, but also has an OSINT element to it. In this case, presidential nominee Clinton was running a private mail server and her own domain, and was running this out of her home. This was allegedly hacked by Guccifer, but we do not have any indication that this actually took place. The domain name was not was rather registered at a private registrar and was not being actively monitored by the government. And Tech Insider has a decent write-up about it there. Now, this became important because it was not being used for just her personal email. It was also being used for emails relating to government business. And Clinton didn't think she had done anything incorrectly. She did give up her mail server and several of the emails when asked for by the FBI. But prior to doing that, she actually deleted thousands of emails. And she claims that they were personal. Things like relating to her yoga routine and her daughter's wedding invitation things and similar. Now, the OSINT portion in here comes in with, you could, in theory, and apparently people looked at this and they could have done that, actually look at the DNS name and similar and look at where this domain was registered and tie it down to Clinton's home address. You could, and that would tell you who it was. That would give you an idea of the technology being used there. You could, in theory, do a DNS zone transfer on that, and given that Clinton was using this not just for her personal email, you could try and fake and make it look like you were someone else and redirect these messages, these censored messages elsewhere. And that is all the time we have for now. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.